Hi book lovers, and welcome back to my October wrap up. And I'm so excited to talk to you guys because we have some hot takes. Like, we have some very popular BookTok books that I have opinions on and I need to share them with you. I don't know how some of these are so popular, but anyway, let's start from the beginning. And you know, I always like to overlook a few of the statistics before we go into each and every book. So let's have a look at the October statistics. I technically read 7 books, but I haven't quite finished the one while I'm filming, so I will only talk about the 6 books, but I have a reading blog coming up for the 7th one anyway, because I got attacked by one of you guys that I won't read the book, and I was like, that's not happening. I said I will read it, and I did in fact read it, or I am reading it at the moment. Anyway, so technically 7 books in October, but I'm going to talk about 6 of them. I audiobooked a lot. Like, October was such a busy time, and I feel like I'm becoming more and more of an audiobook girl, which I didn't really love audiobooks. I mean, it's still not my preferred way to read a book, but still, it really helped in October, which is very nice. So when it comes to like the pages, take this with like a, what do you say? Grain of salt? No, just take this number more lightly. But I've read almost 2,000 pages and my average rating was 3.5, which I feel like is almost higher than I expected. Anyway, I read quite a variety of romances, one paranormal romance, we have a thriller, we have fantasy reads, and actually quite a lot of standalones versus series, which love to see that. And looking at my TBR, I had quite an ambitious one because I did the Taylor Swift TBR, which was so much fun that I picked 8 instead of my usual 6 books, and I did not finish all of them. I mean, I read 7 books, so I couldn't even like finish the entire TBR anyway. But out of the 8 books, I read 4, which, you know, 50%. I'm okay with that. And I read the ones that were a bit higher on like the priority list because they are also on my 2025 TBR. So yeah, I mean, overall, I do feel good. I just, like, let's dive into these reads now because I really need to talk to you guys about some of these books. And we're starting with a hot one right at the beginning because I finally read Say You Swear by Meagan Brandy. This is a very popular BookTok book, and I was so unsure how I will feel about this book. Like, literally, I thought this could go either way, like 1 or 5-star reads. It's neither for me. This used to be a Wattpad book, and people said you can still like kind of tell that, you know, it comes from like the Wattpad era, which I don't hate, but I feel like that some people don't love the writing. And it also kind of has like a love triangle situation, which was the biggest point why I was afraid of this book. I was like, guys, I hate love triangles, like especially true love triangles. Like, give me a Twilight situation where it is so clear what team I'm supposed to be on, and you know that other person is just a little bit of distraction, but it's not a real love triangle. I just generally try to stay away from it, but this is also my 2025 TBR, and because it's so popular, obviously I wanted to know what is all the fuss about. And I can just say that BookTok is so dramatic. Like, the first, I would say, I don't know, like 2/3 of this book, I was very hooked. I loved reading this. It is so enjoyable. This is like a college romance, and you follow this group of friends that all like have their last summer before they go to college. And this group of friends is also like the perfect found family. Like, I love the dynamic so much. And within that group, we have Ariana, our main character, who has had a crush on her friend Chase like basically her entire life, and this summer it finally seems like he's seeing her too. And then something happened in that summer, they go all off to college, and she also meets this other guy, and that is basically the story. And when I read like college romance and these settings, like, I love when I get the feeling of like, you know, when you were like I mean, I wasn't in college, like, yes, I went to university, but like this sort of almost like high school feeling, like picture So High School by Taylor Swift, that kind of feeling. I love when I get that from a book, and that was 100% what I got. So I like flew through the first like 2/3. I really enjoyed it. Kind of got over the love triangle situation because I feel like it then became quite clear what team I should be on, and it was like such an easy choice, so I was safe there. But then something happened in here, and I was like, oh, because I was already worried. We were like here and people were happy, and you know, when you're like, when you have that much left and people are happy, you know that something is going to happen. But the thing that happened in here, I was like, I don't know, I was honestly just shocked. For the entertainment part, I kind of enjoyed it, but it was just way too dramatic for me. I think I landed on a 4-star for this book, and I did, as I said, enjoy my time, but it's not my new obsession. I get why BookTok talked about this book so much. I will say though that the romance was like really, really sweet, and I loved the friends to lovers part in here, and I also loved the like friend group dynamic. There were a lot of great things about this book, and I think especially for like a summer read, this would be really, really nice. And then I picked up one of my most anticipated reads of 2025, and that is Made by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood, like, she is definitely one of my top 3 authors, and especially this year, she smashed every single book she released, and I love her so much. So obviously I was very excited for Made, because also Made is the second book of Bride, so it's a duology now, and Bride was actually my first 5-star read by Ali Hazelwood, so I had very high expectations, and she didn't disappoint. I really enjoyed Made, and I feel like it was very typical Ali Hazelwood. Like, I loved the tension between these characters, and how it was set up, I almost thought that we wouldn't really have that tension, because in Bride you find out that these 2 people are mates. Oh my god, I can't remember the names, but that's not because the book was forgettable. I'm horrible with names. Anyway, he is one of the alphas from the werewolves, and she's actually half human, half werewolf, which is really rare in this world, and like something that people want to find out more about, and also from like the vampire world want to sort of catch her, so she's basically in danger, let's say that. And he doesn't actually want to act on being her mate, but obviously there are strong feelings that he wants to protect her. It was a really good read. It wasn't a 5-star read, so technically this is the worst book I've read from Ali Hazelwood this year. I also gave this 4 stars, but I think it's still a great book. I think it was just plot-wise not something I was too into, and I didn't care for them as much, and I think that also character-wise, for example in Bride, that they were a bit more unique, and yeah, therefore I wasn't as into the book. And I would also say that this is a duology, and I feel like that if you only read Made without Bride, you would be quite lost in the world. So I would definitely recommend reading Bride before going into Made. Like, I don't see this as like just an interconnected standalone. I would say you have to read both, just if you were wondering if you can read Made without Bride. Afterwards, I picked up another book by the monthly TBR, which is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. I really wanted to read this. It's also a new release from this year, and it is a fantasy standalone, which is so amazing. And the premise really reminded me of the concept of The Invisible Life by Adelie LaRue, because we follow these 2 characters that have known each other basically in every lifetime, and in every lifetime they fall in love, but he kills her in every single lifetime before they both turn 18. And in the current one, she really wants to survive because her sister needs her, because she has bone cancer, and she needs and wants to donate, so she has to survive until she's 18, and therefore she's on the lookout for the creature that always haunts her in every single lifetime. But at the same time, she also doesn't want to fall in love with him again. And this, like, I think was a really great read. I really enjoyed it. I simply didn't love it as much because I don't enjoy these kind of endings. And this is very specific to me, but I just found this ending very unsatisfying, which made me bump this down to a 3.75 instead of a 4-star read. I would definitely recommend it. And as I said, it did kind of remind me of The Invisible Life of Adelie LaRue. It is not the same. And I think also that the other book is a bit more beautifully written, but there are some really beautiful quotes in here as well. And I also enjoyed the flashbacks to the other lives, because all of them were so different. You were in so many different cultures, and I think that was very enjoyable. However, I feel like it was kind of hard to follow why they had such a strong connection. Like, I just didn't buy into it as much. So that's maybe also a reason why it wasn't a higher ranking. But overall, I would definitely recommend this, and it was a very enjoyable read, especially during the fall time. Then I listened to The Perfect Sun by Freida McFadden. I feel like she is, I don't know, kind of a safe bet when it comes to thrillers. At least I feel like they're always quite quick and easily readable. I didn't really hear too much about The Perfect Sun before. And you sort of follow the family of not the victim, but actually the perpetrator. And the plot twist also really got me. So you follow Erica, who has 2 kids, and she, quite frankly, has a favorite. But she also knows that there's something like very dark and wrong with her son, actually. So when the girl from school that he also liked goes missing, she kind of freaks out and is quite sure that it was him, but she also wants to protect her son. So you sort of follow the journey, and there is quite a good plot twist at the end. I really enjoyed it, and there's also like this urgency because you don't really know what happened to the girl, whether she's still alive, and you also get POVs from all these other characters that are related to the case and when they talk to the police. So I like the storytelling aspect. I kind of liked seeing the other side, actually, and like going about it different and not from like the victim's perspective and that family. I don't know, it was a very quick, good read. I don't think it was anything spectacular, but I did really enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars, and so far from the, I think, 3 or 4 Freida McFadden books I've read, none of them disappointed me. Then I read A Dawn of Onyx and started another series. I don't know why I do this to myself. Like, I really need to finish some, and here I am starting another series, one after the other. At least this one is finished. This is a trilogy, and as I said, this is the first one. And this, on paper, should be like my perfect romantasy book. And I did enjoy it, but I don't know what's wrong with me, guys, this month. I feel like with all these books, I didn't buy as much into the romance as I thought I should. It took me also a while to actually get into this book, so I also switched to audiobook at some point and then just alternated between reading the physical book and audiobooking this, and it definitely picked up for me, and I really enjoyed it by the end, and I would definitely continue with this series. But it's not that I'm like running out to get to the second book. I feel like this is one of the times where I actually say, they say this is enemies to lovers, but it's not. It really isn't, and I feel like it was very predictable, and I just didn't buy as much into like the whole enemies part, because it just wasn't. And especially when it comes to fantasy, because you should know, I'm a very big defender when it comes to enemies to lovers in contemporary romance. I say that that trope exists there too, and I don't like when people say that it doesn't, because there are people who don't like or don't read fantasy and therefore only read it in contemporary romance, and that is fair. But when they disguise enemies to lovers trope in a fantasy or romantasy book, then I'm like, then you need to like actually go there. And all like the betrayals, or where they were saying, oh, you lied to me, or you did something wrong to me, I don't know, like there wasn't enough punch behind these things actually. And even though I don't read as much romantasy and fantasy in general, I thought that I've seen this plot before. But I am very curious about the other 2 books, because I mean, this was just the introduction, and I feel like the setup for the next book was pretty well established in here, and I enjoyed the ending. So yeah, I will continue, and if you are more of a romantasy reader, I would definitely recommend this. Like the romantasy part was really good. It just kind of annoyed me that they were pushing the like enemies to lovers trope when that wasn't actually the case, if that makes sense. If you're kind of teasing a morally grey character, I'm like, you can go all the way. I love the grey characters, and I feel like this was just a bit simple when it comes to that. But also another quick one, I did appreciate that this was like new adult and not YA. It's not a super spicy book, but you know, at least it wasn't YA, and it doesn't necessarily stop when they kiss. So that's a plus for this one. And I gave this also 3.75 stars. Okay, let's get to the next book that really pissed me off. And it was even a book that I considered DNFing, because I actually didn't care about it. I started this book back in August, and I feel like I couldn't get really into it. And I actually knew going into it that it wouldn't be one of my favorites, because it's just not really a plot and tropes that I particularly enjoy. However, I wanted to read this to prepare for another book that I thought would be 5-star. Since finishing this book, I am unsure about that 5-star prediction. But let me tell you what I'm talking about. It is Every Summer After by Carley Fortune. I believe this is her debut novel, and this also very popular book. And I have to ask you why. I don't get why this is so popular. First of all, this is pretty much the same as Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and quite frankly, I think that book is a lot better. But also, if you enjoy that and you want more or less the same, then you can definitely read this. As I said, I kind of knew already going into this that this wouldn't be a favorite because I'm just not a fan of like the second chance and childhood friends to lovers trope. So in this one, you get the flashbacks when Percy and Sam meet. She has a holiday house with her family at this lake town where Sam grows up in, and every summer they meet, they become best friends, then they become more than best friends. Something happened and now it's present day, and because his mom died, they meet again at the funeral and spend, you know, a few days there together. And you're wondering, you know, what happened to you guys, because you seem perfect for each other. Well, let me spoil you guys, they aren't. They aren't perfect for each other. I also don't believe that they will make it in the real world. The reason why they like split in the past or had this like breakup, friendship wise or lover wise, so bad. I don't understand how anyone recovers from that. And what also really pissed me off, something like that, like you need to address way sooner, and you have to like show me how these people get past it. This literally, like this bomb got dropped, I don't know, like here. And then we had like 5 pages where they recovered and everything. That doesn't make it anywhere believable that you two, you know, will actually work in the real world. And also, why do I care now whether or not you guys will make it? Because again, terrible choices. And also you had like, I don't know, how many years in between, like 12 years or something like that, where you could have made up and where you could have like initiated a reunion or like resolving this, but both of you didn't. I mean, there's definitely one person more at fault, and I feel also terrible that the other person even like took on some of the blame. Oh my gosh, guys, like this pissed me off so much. And before that, I didn't even really care about this book. I thought this would be like a 3-star read. I would recommend it, and you know, if you like these tropes, then yes, go for it, because it is like really readable. Like I like the writing style in terms of it is quite bingeable, and I mean, I wouldn't say it quickly goes by because I've started this in August, but I feel like if you would like this kind of plot, then it definitely would. But I don't get why not more people are pissed and mad at this book, because it was just, oh, so horrible. Just because you get a panic attack after you did something bad doesn't mean you're the victim now, okay? Like, literally besides like maybe the last 2 pages, I feel like there was just nothing where they actually, you know, try to like work on this. Like if something like this happens, you know, I want you guys to see and work this out. Why I also don't like second chances is that they often don't talk about the reason why they broke up in the past for like a long time. And I'm like, we're reading romance, not mystery. Like you don't have to like keep me on my toes. That's not why I like want to keep reading. I want to keep reading because of the romance. And it pisses me off if there clearly something happened in the past and they don't talk about it until the very end. Like I want you guys to talk about it, get it out, and then I want to see you guys work on this and like why you work now that you didn't work in the past. All of this didn't happen in this. And that's not even the worst part, guys. I read this because I really want to read Charlie's book, One Golden Summer, and I got recommended to read this first. This ruined my favorite character before even getting to his book. So yeah, that is my every summer after review. It's a 2-star for me because the writing was good. And yeah, these were the 6 books that I'm going to talk about now. Let me tell you the 7th book that I will still finish in October, and that is Archer's Voice. Yes, guys, yes. I'm reading Archer's Voice. I know, you're as surprised as I am. Leave me a blue heart in the comments for this accomplishment. And as I said, I am not finished yet, so I can't talk about it too much. It's been a roller coaster with this one so far, and I have a reading vlog coming up for this one, so you will get my in-depth thoughts about Archer's Voice there. I'm just glad that this book didn't sit on another monthly TBR without me looking at it, touching it. So yeah, that is actually the biggest accomplishment of this month. We're reading Archer's Voice. So yeah, these were my October reads. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're not offended by anything that I said. I mean, you know, this is obviously just my opinion. And if you loved any of these books that I didn't enjoy as much, just let me know in the comments. Like, I still love to chat about them. But yeah, give this video a like and also subscribe for more bookish content in the future. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!